Kindergarten. It's Mrs. Huaco. It's Tuesday, May 12th, and I have a story for you. And this story is another Curious George story. We're going to read, I think, the whole series because I like them a lot, and I think you guys do too. At least it looks that way from your journal entries. So today's story is Curious George and the Hot Air Balloon by Margaret and H.A. Rays. So we'll go to the title page. Remember, that's the page that, again, we repeat the title and the author. Okay, see how we do this. Curious George and the Hot Air Balloon. It's really hard when you look into the camera reverse to see what you're reading. So I apologize for my spastic finger there. Okay, so let us see what mischief George gets into today. What do you think? Looking at the title, the picture, what do you think happens to George today? All right, let's find out. Let's see if we can get into this pretty good. I have a lamp on, so it's making kind of a glare because the sun just isn't shining this morning so great. Okay, this is George. George was a good little monkey and always very curious. He was on a trip with his friend, the man with the yellow hat. It was the end of their vacation, and they wanted to make just 2 more stops. Look at George, he's got the map out. Yeah. He even has his seatbelt on. Yeah, he's driving, he's being safe. They were in South Dakota. So, of course, they went to see Mount Rushmore. George had never seen anything like it. These are the faces of 4 great presidents, our tour guide said. George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Theodore Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln. You see them? I think Miss Harmon talked about Mount Rushmore in one of your classes. Yeah. All carved from stone on the side of a mountain. Isn't it unbelievable? And they're huge. Look at, these are the people. And this is far, far away in a mountain, and look how big the faces are. I've never seen it in person. I'd like to. I bet it's spectacular. All right. Look, said the girl. There's something crawling on George Washington's head. So she's looking in, like, these are kind of like binoculars. They have them at a lot of these tour stops. If you haven't seen them before, you put a quarter or I don't know how much, some money into them, and then all of a sudden they open up and you can see far away. Look, said a girl, there's something crawling on George Washington's head. The tour guide explained that some workers were making repairs to the faces. George watched the workers. The helicopter, oh, there's a person there. It's like, I guess they're kind of almost like mountain climbing up there, huh? Excuse me. Oh, excuse me. He saw a helicopter fly by. It was taking tourists for a close-up look. George thought that it would be fun. Maybe we can take a ride later, the man said. But now we need to leave, or we'll be late for the hot air balloon race. So they got back into their little blue car, and before long, they came to a whole field full of hot air balloons. George was delighted to see such big balloons. He liked their spots and stripes and stars, but his favorite had a picture of a bunny on it. Can you see? Can you find the one with the bunny on it? Look at all the different types of balloons. Wow. One balloon was not up yet. It's not up in the air yet. Its owner was hurrying to fill it as a newspaper reporter took pictures. The man with the yellow hat watched the balloon on the ground, but George watched the balloons in the sky. He was curious. Why didn't they fly away? Then he saw the ropes. A rope is a good thing to keep a balloon from flying away, thought George. A rope is a good thing to climb. Do you think it's a good thing for Monkey George to climb? Sometimes, when a monkey sees something to climb, he can't help himself. He has to climb it. George thought he would climb just one rope, then quickly climb down. You think that's going to happen? But when George climbed up there was no way to climb back down. The rope had come undone, and there was only one place to go. Up, up, up went the balloon, and George went with it. George flew higher and higher, and the people below grew smaller and smaller. The man with the yellow hat was tiny. The newspaper reporter was too, and the owner of the balloon wasn't very big. But he was big enough for George to see that he was angry. Look at him, there he is. You see him? Yeah, he doesn't look too happy. Look at George. George looks kind of scared. George felt bad. He didn't mean to take the balloon. He didn't even know how to fly it, and the wind whisked him away. He wished he had someone to help him. Uh-oh. But he was all alone. Just George. Oh, it looks like a little bird up there with him. I don't think the bird can help. George climbed into the basket. When he looked around, he found he wasn't alone after all. The race was on, and he was in the lead. Well, he kind of started ahead of everyone. Together the balloons flew across the field and over the forest. Now George was having fun. But before he knew it, what happened? George was alone again, and all the fun was gone. Flying by himself high in the sky, George was frightened. How would he ever get down? He wondered. Oh, if only he hadn't climbed that rope. Suddenly the wind changed, and George saw something familiar. He was excited. Someone was sure to help him now. In fact, there was someone right in front of him. Who do we have? Who's in front of George? Well, those are big rock faces. I don't know if they can help him. Oh, it was one of the workers. And he was stranded on George Washington's nose. George was so happy to see the worker, he didn't notice how happy the worker was to see him. Slowly the balloon floated closer. Would it come close enough? It did. The worker grabbed onto the rope and climbed up. Soon he was in the basket with George. Hooray! George was rescued. Hooray! The worker was rescued too. It was kind of a daring leap he made. They sailed up over George Washington's head and landed safely in a tree. Soon a whole crowd came to rescue them both. There's a little helicopter. Oh, look at everyone. It's all excited to see them. The reporter, the man with the yellow hat. The man with the yellow hat was happy to see George. The reporter was glad to have such an exciting story to report. And the owner of the balloon wasn't angry anymore. Everyone had seen the rescue. George was a hero. After the workers thanked him, George got a special treat. He got to ride in the helicopter. The helicopter flew George and the man with the yellow hat once more past the presidents, then back to the tiny little blue car. As they drove away, the man said, "That was some vacation, George." George agreed. It was an exciting vacation, but they were both very glad to go home. The end. That did sound like a pretty good vacation. George and the hot air balloon. Okay, so for this week's journal entry, if you'd like to write one, which is always good practice, what I'd like you to think about was George's vacation and what he did. So let's write about when George went on vacation, he saw blank and blank, maybe, or he did blank and blank. Okay, I'll write that in the caption. And a lot of those words are former spelling words. When, saw, went, on, and. You've learned a lot of words. So let's try to use those in your journal entry. And then draw another picture of Curious George, or his what he did, what he saw. Okay, and then post that so I can see it. Okay? Of course, this is all optional. You don't have to do this, but it's good practice, and I love seeing your journal entries. Okay, so on Friday, it's going to be Fun Friday. And this week, for Fun Friday, May 15th, we're going to bake. And they're called Berry Smash Muffins. Okay, they're strawberry muffins. This is what you're going to need to get ready for Friday. Okay, so you're going to need to get some fresh strawberries, sugar, vegetable oil, 2 eggs, all-purpose flour, baking soda, salt, ground cinnamon, and a muffin pan. Okay, and with muffin pans or muffin tins, little paper liners that go into the muffin tin, or a lot of times we call them cupcake liners. Okay, and if you do not have muffin liners or cupcake liners, you don't have to have them. You can just grease the muffin pan with butter. All right? But if you do have them, it makes things a lot simpler to clean up. Okay? So these are the items that you're going to want to gather up for the end of the week on Friday, when we can bake our berry smash muffins. Okay? Can't wait to do that. So anyways, have a great week. I hope you enjoyed the story, and I will see you on Friday. Alrighty, take care.